ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। प्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 7 चैप्टर 10 वर्स 40। आख्यातं सर्वमेतत्ते यन्मां त्वं परिपृष्टवान् दमघोषः सुतादीनां हरे सात्म्यम् अपि द्विषाम्। Everything you asked me about how Shishupala and others attained salvation, although they were inimical, has now been explained to you by me. Esha Brahmanya Devasya Krishnasya cha Mahatmanah Avataraka Punya Vadho Yatradi Daityayoho. This narration about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, various expansions or incarnations of the Lord have been described. The killing of the two demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, is also. Taras are expansions of the Supreme Lord. Dvaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Dvaitam, non-dual. Achyutam, infallible. Anadim, without beginning. Anantarupam, he expands into unlimited forms. Adyam, original. Purana Purusham, oldest person. Although he is the oldest person, Navayavanamcha, appears as a fresh youth. Vedeshu Durlabham, such eternal, blissful, and all-knowing forms of the Lord cannot be understood. The academic wisdom of the Vedas. Durlabham, but it's not very difficult for Atma Bhakta who are always manifest pure, unalloyed devotees. Mm. So Krishna always appears as a fresh youth. Krishna's eternal, of course, Goloka Vrindavana is inconceivable. Now, Goloka Vrindavana, there are two parts. One is Shveta Dvipa, which are the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, and then there is Vrindavan or Vrindavan. Now, there's also one more place called Gokula. So here, Gokula and Vrindavan. Uh, in Gokula, the Lord manifests, or the Lord's pastimes are in Swakiya, in Gokula. And in Vrindavan, Lord's pastimes are in Parakiya. So it's inconceivable what all happens in the spiritual world. Actually, it is said that Krishna caters to every devotee to his heart's liking. So somebody wants to, whatever moods devotees want to worship Krishna, Krishna provides for it. It's environment for it. However, Krishna is always a fresh youth. So he's always around 14 years of age. 14 years, so many days. And Radharani is 13 years, 2 months. Mm. And it's also another inconceivable thing about Krishna's youth is actually Krishna is generally 5 years ahead of normal children. Actually, it's said that his age is 9 years, but he behaves like a 14-year boy. So like that. So it's all inconceivable. We can't understand. Mm. But he's always a fresh age. Brahma Samhita describes the avatars. Indeed, all the avatars are described in the way authentic scripture. No one can become an avatara, although this has become fashionable in this age. Avatars are described in the authentic scriptures, and therefore, before one risks accepting a pretender as an avatara, should refer to the strange actually. Even devotees, even after coming to Krishna consciousness, they continue to worship. I know so many devotees worshipping Sai Baba because they were doing it before, so they continue to worship. First, they were in ignorance. Subsequently, they should have come in knowledge, but looks like they haven't. Shastras say everywhere that Krishna is the original person of Godhead and that he has innumerable avatars, incarnations. And then there are some who claim to be avatars but who are not actually avatars. Elsewhere in the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Ramadi Murti Shukalani Amena Krishna. Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, and many others are consecutive expansions of the Supreme. After Krishna comes Balaram, after Balaram Sankarshan, then Aniruddha Pradyumna, then Narayana, and then Purusha avatars. All of them are avatars. One must hear about the avatars. Narrations about such avatars are called Avatara Katha, narrations of Krishna's expansions. Hearing and chanting these narrations is completely pious, which is what the whole of Bhagavatam is till the 10th canto. Bhatam Swakataha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. One hears and chants can become punya, purified of material contamination. Whenever there are references to the avatars, religious principles are established. Demons who are against Krishna are killed. The Krishna consciousness movement is spreading all over the world with two aims: to establish Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, to kill all the pretenders, to kill all the pretenders who falsely present themselves as our. So Prabhupada is saying this is our moment: to establish Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and to kill all others, all other pretenders. The preachers of Krishna conscious movement must carry this conviction very carefully within their hearts and kill the demons who in many tactful ways vilify the Supreme Person of Godhead. We have to have the uh, courage to kill the demons. Oh, no, no, no. But today we don't say that, oh, okay, Sai Baba is not be worshipped. He is not God. We don't say these things. We don't have the heart to kill the demons. But which is what Prabhupada is saying, that Krishna conscious movement is spreading with two aims. If we don't have the courage to repeat Prabhupada's words as it is, then it is not humility. Then we think that we know more, better than Prabhupada. If we take shelter of Narasimha and Prahlad Maharaj, it will be easier to kill the demons who are against Krishna and to thus re-establish Krishna's supremacy. So it is actually in service of Krishna that we, speak the truth. That somebody is cheating people by calling himself God. Because we want to re-establish Krishna's supremacy as the Supreme Lord, not some uh, pretender or assumed. People assume that he's God. Krishna is the Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the Supreme Lord, the Ocean Lord. Prahlada Maharaj is our Guru. And Krishna is our worshipable God. As advised by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Guru Krishna Prasad Pai Bhakti Lata Bich. We can be successful in getting the mercy of Prahlad Maharaj and also that of Narasimha Dev. Then our Krishna consciousness movement will be extremely successful. The demon Hiranyakashipu had so many ways to try to become God himself. But although Prahlada was chastised and threatened in many ways, he rigidly refused to accept his powerful demoniac father as God. See, Prahlada rigidly refused. Following in the footsteps of Prahlada, we should reject all rascals who pretend to be God. We must accept Krishna and his incarnations and so on. So clear. And now we, in the name of being nice to others, we can't talk so in a straightforward manner. People will run away from ISKCON. It looked like Prabhupada was even concerned about it. Prabhupada is saying, yes, let people come to ISKCON provided they want to accept Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, let them go wherever they want. Or yeah, you can try to convince them. That's the aim of Krishna consciousness. प्रह्लादस्यानुच्छरितं महाभागवतस्य च भक्तिर्ज्ञानं विरक्तिश्च यथार्थ्यं चास्य वैहरेः सर्गस्थित्यप्ययेषस्य गुणकर्मानुवर्णनं परावरेषां स्थानानां कालेन व्यत्ययो महान्. This narration describes the characteristics of the great and exalted devotee Prahlada. Characteristics of the great and exalted devotee Prahlada Maharaj. His staunch devotional service, his perfect knowledge, his perfect detachment from material contamination. Not just enough if you are perfect, able to implement it. It also describes the Supreme Person of Godhead as the cause of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Prahlada Maharaj, in his prayers, has described the transcendental qualities of the Lord and also described how the various abodes of the demigods and demons, regardless of how materially opulent, destroyed by the mere direction of the Lord. When Bhagavatam is filled with descriptions of the characteristics of various devotees with reference to the service of the Lord. This Vedic literature is called Bhagavatam because it deals with the Supreme Person of Godhead and his devotee, Bhagavan and Bhakta. By studying Srimad Bhagavatam under the direction of a guru, one can perfectly understand the science of Krishna, the nature of the material and spiritual worlds, and the aim of life. Science of Krishna, meaning clearly understanding as per Shastra. So it's called Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana. The Vijnana, it's a science. And the nature of material and spiritual worlds and the aim of life. Srimad Bhagavatam, Amalam Puranam, is the spotless Vedic literature. Therefore, simply by understanding Srimad Bhagavatam, one can understand the science of the activities of the devotees, the activities of the demons, and the permanent abode and the temporary abode. Through Srimad Bhagavatam, everything is perfectly known. Bhagavatam teaches, on top of that, Prabhupada's purports are even more didactic, right? So they are teaching us, Prabhupada's purports are so different from his predecessors. Like I've said repeatedly, that Prabhupada's purports, the intent of the purports are to actually create a purity, get people to surrender to Krishna, and come to a platform, stable platform of clear philosophy, understanding of philosophy, so that then we can actually come to Brahmabhuta and then Shuddha Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti can start, etc. Because Kali Yuga people are very fallen, contaminated. Now, in previous acharyas, their audience were different. So they used to directly go into rasa, tattva. But here it's still just materially entanglement. Material entanglement is so strong that most of the purports are just aimed at pulling people out of their material entanglement, bringing them to reality. So with the Srimad Bhagavatam and Prabhupada's purports, everything is perfectly known and can also be perfectly achieved. By reading Prabhupada's purports, we can be established in that, in those instructions and actually achieve perfection. Which otherwise in previous yugas or previous ages was just possible simply by reading Srimad Bhagavatam only. But we are not so qualified. We are all fallen. धर्मो भागवतानां च भगवान् येन गम्यते आख्यानेऽस्मिन् समां नाथम् आध्यात्मिकम् अशेषतः. The principles of religion by which one can actually understand the Supreme Lord are called Bhagavata Dharma. In this narration, therefore, which deals with these principles, actual transcendence is properly described. Through the principles of religion, one can understand the Supreme Person of Godhead, Brahman, Paramatma, and Paramatma. When one is fully well conversant with all these principles, he becomes a devotee and performs this Bhagavata Dharma. Prahlad Maharaj, the spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession, advised that this Bhagavata Dharma be instructed to students from the very beginning of their education. Kaumara, Charitragno, Dharman, Bhagavatanya. To understand the science of the Supreme Person of Godhead is a real purpose of education. Pranam Kirtanam Vishnoho. One must simply hear about and describe Lord Vishnu and his various incarnations. This narration concerning Prahlada and Lord Narasimhadev therefore has properly described spiritual transcendental subjects. एतत् पुण्यम् आख्यानं विष्णोर्वीर्योपबृंहितं कीर्तयेत् श्रद्धया श्रुत्वा कर्मपाशैर्विमुच्यते. One who hears and chants this narration about the omnipotence of the Supreme Person of Godhead, Vishnu, is certainly liberated from material bondage without fail. Again, I've told this multiple times. If we believe in this, then we are liberated. We are liberated now at this point of time. We are liberated from bondage. Provided we have the faith in this statement. This is Palashruti. एतद्य आदिपुरुषस्य मृगेन्द्रलीलां दैत्येन्द्रयूथपवधं प्रयतः पठेत दैत्यात्मजस्य च सतां प्रवरस्य पुण्यं श्रुत्वानुभावमकुतो भयम् इति लोकम्. Allah was the best among exalted devotees. Anyone who with great attention hears this narration concerning the activities of Prahlada, killing of Hiranyakashipu, and the activities of the Supreme Lord Narasimhadev, surely reaches the spiritual world where there is no anxiety. One more benediction, that by just reading this seventh canto so far, we will reach the spiritual world. Now it just depends on when we will reach. That depends on again our desire, our efforts, etc. But we will reach. Unless we don't want it. That's the different thing. But those who want will reach. That's what this means. Again, please don't doubt this Phalashruti. Phalashruti gives, it works for those who have faith. So if you believe saying that, okay, I have read this, now I am guaranteed to go to the spiritual world, then it'll happen. Just depends on our faith. यूयं नृलोके बत भूरिभागा लोकं पुनाना मुनयोभियन्ति येषां गृहान् आवसतीति साक्षात् गूढं परं ब्रह्म मनुष्यलिङ्गम्. Now, continued, my dear Maharaj Yudhishthir, all of you, the Pandavas, are extremely fortunate. The Supreme Person of Godhead Krishna lives in your palace just like a human being. Great saintly persons know this very well, and therefore they constantly. After hearing about the activities of Prahlada, a pure devotee should be very anxious to follow in his footsteps. But such a devotee might be disappointed, thinking that not every devotee can come to the standard of Prahlada. This is the nature of a pure devotee. He always thinks himself to be lowest, to be incompetent and unqualified. Of course, this is nature of pure devotee. For us, we know that we are incompetent and unqualified, and we are the lowest. Thus, after hearing the narration of Prahlada, Maharaj Yudhishthira, who was on the same standard of devotion as Prahlada, might have been thinking of his own humble position. This is his humility, because he is a pure devotee. Narada Muni, however, could understand Maharaj Yudhishthira's mind, and therefore immediately encouraged him by saying that the Pandavas were not less fortunate. They were as good as Prahlada, because although Lord Narasimhadev appeared for Prahlada, Supreme Lord in his original form as Krishna was always living with the Pandavas. Although the Pandavas, because of the influence of Krishna's Yoga Maya, could not think of their fortunate position, Mahamaya, this Yoga Maya, spiritual energy, internal energy. Every saintly person, including the great sage Narada, could understand it, and therefore they constantly visited Maharaja Yudhishthira. Any pure devotee who is constantly conscious of Krishna is naturally very fortunate. Constantly conscious of Krishna. The word and constantly conscious doesn't mean all the time we are chanting Hare Krishna, but Machitta Sarva Durgani Mat Prasada Tarishasya. In all situations, if you just remember Krishna and connect everything to Krishna. The word Nruloke means within the material world, indicates that before the Pandavas there had been many devotees such as the descendants of Yadu, Dynasty, and Vasishta, Marichi, Kashyapa, Lord Brahma, Shiva, who were all extremely fortunate. The Pandavas, however, were better than all of them because Krishna himself lived with them constantly. Narada Muni therefore specifically mentioned that within this material world, the Pandavas were the most तवा अयं ब्रह्म विमृग्य कैवल्य निर्वाण सुखानुभूतिः प्रियसुहृद्वा कलु खलु मातुलेय आत्मार्हणीयो विधिकृत गुरुश्च. The impersonal Brahman is Krishna himself because Krishna is the source of the impersonal Brahman. He is the origin of the transcendental bliss sought by great saintly persons. Yet he, the Supreme Person, is your most dear friend and constant well-wisher and is intimately related to you as the son of your maternal uncle. Indeed, he is always like your body and soul. He is worshipable, yet he acts as your servant and sometimes as your spiritual master. There's always a difference of opinion about the absolute truth. One class of transcendentalists conclude the truth is impersonal. Another class that it is a person. Bhagavad Gita, the absolute truth is accepted as the Supreme Person. Indeed, the Supreme Person himself says, Brahmano hi pratishtaham matta parataram nanyat. The impersonal Brahman is my partial manifestation. There's no truth superior to me. The same Krishna, that same Krishna acted as a supreme friend and relative of the Pandavas. Sometimes he even acted as their servant by carrying a letter from the Pandavas to Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. Because Krishna was the well-wisher of the Pandavas, he also acted as Guru by becoming the spiritual master of Arjuna. Vishyastam Shadimam Swam Prapanam. And Krishna sometimes chastised him, Asochanam Machuram. The Lord also said, Kutastva Akashmalam. Where have these impurities come upon? Such was the intimate relationship between the Pandavas and Krishna. In the same way, a pure devotee of the Lord is always with Krishna through thick and thin, meaning in all situations. His way of life is Krishna. Very, very important. We should always be with Krishna through thick and thin of our life, and Krishna should be the way of our life. This is the statement of the authority, Sri Narada Muni. So, Pandavas were very fortunate. So, Krishna was staying with them, so dear to them. Yasya sakshat bhava padmadadibhi रूपम धिया वस्तु तयोपवर्णितम मौनेन भक्त्योपशमेन पूजितः प्रसीदताम येष सत् सत् सात्वताम पतिः. Exalted persons like Lord Shiva and Brahma could not properly describe the truth of the Supreme Person of Godhead Krishna. May the Lord, who is always worshipped as the protector of all devotees, Sattvatam Pati, by great saints who observe vows of silence, meditation, devotional service, and renunciation, be pleased with us. He is a protector of all devotees. Absolute truth is sought by different persons in different ways, yet he remains inconceivable. Nonetheless, devotees like the Pandavas, the Gopis, cowherd boys, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and all inhabitants of Vrindavana do not need to practice conventional process of meditation to attain the Supreme Lord, for he remains with them through thick and thin. Therefore, a saint like Narada, understanding the difference between transcendentalists and pure devotees, always pray that the Lord be pleased with him. So Narada is considering himself not to be in the same category as Pandavas, Gopis, etc. So he's saying, please be pleased with me and give me benediction so that I can also become a great devotee. Hmm? Esha Bhagavan Rajan Vyatanodvihatam Yashaha Pura Rudrasya Devasya Mayanananta Mayina. My dear King Yudhishthir, long, long ago in history, a demon known as Mayadanava, who was very expert in technical knowledge, reduced the reputation of Lord Shiva. In that situation, Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead, saved Lord Shiva. So this is another, that episode is over. Now another episode where Krishna saved Lord Shiva. Shiva is known as Mahadeva, the most exalted demigod. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that although Brahma did not know the glories of Supreme Lord, Lord Shiva could have known them. Historical incident proves that Lord Shiva derives power from Lord Maharaj Yudhishthir said, for what reason did the demon Mayadanava vanquish Lord Shiva's reputation? How did Lord Krishna save Lord Shiva and expand his reputation again? Can we describe these incidents? Narada Muni said, when the demigods were always powerful by the mercy of Lord Krishna, fought with the Asuras were defeated and therefore they took shelter of Mayadanava, the greatest of demons. He is the biggest scientist, Mayadanava. Maidanava, the great leader of the demons, prepared three invisible residences and gave them to the demons. These dwellings resembled airplanes made of gold, silver, and iron. Remember, they were residences. Hmm. They resembled airplanes, flying airplanes made of gold, silver, and iron. Three of them. And they contained uncommon paraphernalia. My dear King Yudhishthir, because of these three dwellings, the commanders of the demons remained invisible to the demigods. Taking advantages of this opportunity, the demons, remembering their former enmity, began to vanquish the three worlds because they got this flying residence. Thereafter, when the demons had begun to destroy the higher planetary systems, the rulers of those planets went to Lord Shiva, fully surrendered unto him, and said, Dear Lord, we demigods living in the three worlds are about to be vanquished. We are your followers. Kindly save us. And normally they go to Krishna, Vishnu. They go to Brahma, and Brahma takes them to Vishnu, or they directly pray to Vishnu. But by Krishna's arrangement, this time they went to Lord Shiva and prayed to him to save them. The most powerful and able Lord Shiva reassured them and said, Do not be afraid. He then fixed his arrows to his bow and released them toward the three residences occupied by the demons. The arrows released by Lord Shiva appeared like fiery beams emanating from the sun globe and covered the three residential airplanes, which could then no longer be seen. So he released three arrows and attacked by Lord Shiva's golden arrows. All the demoniac inhabitants of those three dwellings lost their lives and fell down. So they died. Then the great mystic Mayadanava dropped the demons into a nectarian well that he had created. So much of yogic power. They're very powerful. Of course, Prabhupada is saying the actual purpose of mystic yoga is to concentrate one's attention fully on the Supreme Lord and think always of Him. Madhyatena antaratmana. To attain such perfection, one must undergo a certain process. And through this yoga system, the practitioner achieves some uncommon mystic power, Hatha Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. The Asuras, however, instead of becoming devotees, utilize this mystic power for their personal sense gratification. Mayadanama is mentioned here as a Mahayogi, but his business was to help the Asuras. Nowadays, we are actually seeing that there are some yogis who cater to the sense of materialists, and there are imposters who advertise themselves as God. Mayadanama was such a person, a god among the demons, and he could perform some wonderful feats, which is described here. He made a well filled with nectar and dipped the asuras into the nectarial well. This nectar was known as Mrita Sanjeeva Yitari, for it could bring a dead body to life. Hanuman got this, right, for Lakshman. It's an Ayurvedic preparation. It is a kind of liquor that invigorates even a person on the verge of death. Mrita Sanjeevani. When the dead bodies of the demons came in touch with the nectar, their bodies became invincible to thunderbolts, endowed with great strength. They got up like lightning, penetrating clouds. Seeing Lord Shiva very much aggrieved and disappointed. So Shiva was aggrieved and disappointed because all of them he had killed, they came back to life. Seeing him aggrieved and disappointed, Lord Vishnu considered how to stop this nuisance. So Vishnu himself proactively, he is thinking. So then Lord Brahma became a calf, Lord Vishnu a cow, and at noon they entered the residences and drank all the nectar in the well. The demons could see the calf and cow, but because of illusion created by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the demons could not forbid them. The great mystic Mayadanava became aware that the calf, and cow were drinking nectar, and he could understand this to be the unseen power of providence. So he could understand this to be the unseen power of providence. Thus he spoke to the demons who were grievously lamenting. What has been destined by the Supreme Lord for oneself, for others, or for both oneself and others cannot be undone anywhere or by anyone, whether one be a demigod, demon, human being, or anyone. See, he was a demon, but he knew karma phala. Hmm. Hmm. Mayadanava said, however I plan, you plan, or both of us plan, the Lord has planned what is to happen. No one's plan will be successful without his sanction. We may make our own various plans, but unless they're sanctioned by the Supreme Lord Vishnu, they will never be successful. Hundreds and millions of plans are made by all kinds of living entities, but without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, they're futile. So no need to spend so much time planning. Just surrender. Thereafter, Lord Krishna, by his own personal potency, consisting of religion, knowledge, renunciation, opulence, austerity, education, and activities, equipped Lord Shiva with all the necessary paraphernalia such as a chariot, charioteer, flag, horses, elephant, bow, shield, and arrows. When Lord Shiva was fully equipped in this way, he sat on the chariot with his arrows and bow to fight the demons. Stated in Bhagavatam, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Lord Shiva is the best of the Vaishnavas. Indeed, he is one of the Mahajanas. Lord Krishna is always prepared to help all the Mahajanas and devotees in every respect. Kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashati. The Lord Shiva is very powerful. He lost the battle to the Asuras and therefore he was morose and disappointed. However, because he's one of the chief devotees of the Lord personally equipped him with all the paraphernalia for war. The devotee therefore must serve the Lord sincerely, and Krishna is always in the background to protect him. And if need be, to equip him fully to fight with his enemy. Please understand this. What should we do? We should simply serve the Lord sincerely, and Krishna is always in the background to protect such a pure devotee. And he, if need be, will equip him fully to fight with his enemy. For devotees, there is no scarcity of knowledge or material requisites for spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. So this is again a benediction. Prabhupada is benedicting, saying that there won't be any scarcity. Go ahead. Go and spread the Krishna consciousness movement. There won't be any scarcity. Now, when there will be scarcity, when we create mismanagement, there will be scarcity. Otherwise, there's no question of scarcity. Right? Like human beings, the Lord has given so much of natural resources, but we put boundaries. So it's our mismanagement. So similarly, for spreading Krishna consciousness movement, there's always resources available. Krishna will send. And what should devotee do? Must serve the Lord sincerely without any ulterior motive. And then Krishna is always in the background to protect him and if need be, fully equip him to fight with his enemy. Amazing. Again, those who have faith in this, it will happen. Those who don't have faith, it will not happen. Those who have faith in this statement, it will happen. Krishna will send resource. Otherwise, it won't happen. It's like that. My dear King Yudhishthira, the most powerful Lord Shiva, joined the arrows to his bow, and at noon he set fire to all three residences of the demons and thus destroyed them. Seated in their airplanes in the sky, the inhabitants of the higher planetary systems beat many kettle drums. The demigod, saints, pitas, siddhas, various great personalities showered flowers on the head of Lord Shiva, wishing him all victory, and the Apsaras began to chant and dance with great pleasure. So he is called Tripurari. Tripura Ari. Here it is there. O King Yudhishthira. Thus Lord Shiva is known as Tripurari, the annihilator of the three dwellings of the demons, because he burned these dwellings to ashes. Being worshipped by the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva returned to his abode. Yeah. Lord Shri Krishna appeared as a human being, yet he performed many uncommon and wonderful pastimes by his own potency. How can I say more about his activities than what has already been said by great saintly persons? Everyone can be purified by his activities simply by hearing about them from right. For us, right now, right source is Prabhupada's purport. Bhagavad Gita and all the Vedic literatures fully explain that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna appears in human society as an ordinary human being, but acts very uncommonly for the well-being of the entire world. One should not be influenced by the illusory energy and think Lord Krishna to be an ordinary human being. Those who really seek the absolute truth come to the understanding that Krishna is everything. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. The Mahatma Sudurlabha. Nonetheless, if one studies the entire Bhagavad Gita as it is, Krishna is very easy to understand. The Krishna consciousness movement is just trying to make Krishna known all over the world as the Supreme Lord, Supreme Person of Godhead. People take this movement seriously, their lives is successful. So with this, the 7th canto, 10th chapter is over. Now, in the rest, 11th through 15, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, this is Varnashrama. Description about Varnashrama. Okay, Varna here, Ashrama. Then this is Sannyasi, this is Grihastha life. This is general instructions for cultured, civilized human beings. Now, what I'm going to do is, I have chosen some verses from these. So mostly I will only discuss those verses because most of the others might not be very directly relevant for us. So anyway, before tomorrow's class, I will decide what I will do. If not this, then we will start 8th canto, or we might go through some select verses from these five and discuss. For today, we will stop here. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौरव भक्तवृंद की जय. Any questions, comments? Okay, nothing will close. वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. हरे कृष्ण.